What's good, y'all? It's your boy Herb.
And it's your girl Mo.
And welcome to our soon-to-be world-renowned podcast, Young, Black, and Figuring It Out. What up, though?
What it do?
Whatever we tell it. Do you feel me? What we telling it to do?
A lot. Everything. All the things.
It's doing all the things a lot. You know why? Because that's what we told it. You feel me? Yeah. So listen, y'all. You glad to have y'all. This is going to be another fire episode.
Oot, oot.
Yeah? Mm-hmm. You feel it?
Yeah.
It's getting hot in here.
Keep on all your clothes.
On a throwback. Was that Nelly?
Yeah.
Dang. We got to do top like hip-hop hits of the 90s, 2000s, 2010s. We should do that.
I can actually participate.
Yeah. You know those.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. So, you know how we do it this time. We actually, what did you figure out this week? But actually, we ain't going to do that this time. Why?
We have a special guest.
Yeah, then we ain't got time for that. So we got special guests in the building. Some of y'all might know a regular at this point.
Yeah.
Pastor, our man has a walk. Clap it up for walk being in the building. Yes. Welcome, Mark. Go ahead and reintroduce yourself.
I was going to ask, like, how many times I'm going to be on the show to where I get to the point where I'm not special?
Oh,
you're always special
to us.
Special.
I am always special.
Special.
Now, if you haven't heard me on the podcast at all before, my name is Joaquin Figueroa. I run Asylum Studios, and I am also on a podcast, pop culture podcast called Insensitive Culture, where me and my friends discuss movies and other pop culture topics.
Amen. So. Yeah, we're glad to have him again. Yeah,
always.
So this is heat. So this is actually follow up to one of our most recent episodes. We talked about the black actors in movies, but now talk about or black actors, but today we're gonna talk about our top movies.
Yes, we are.
And yeah, we're gonna talk about those. I know mine's probably gonna be the best to y'all, but that's okay. And we just gonna talk, debate, reminisce, talk about the nostalgia, all that good stuff.
Try not to judge each other for our choices. Yes.
You know, the black and brown movies are important. And again, the reason why we're talking about this is just because it is so important to the culture, right? And it's like you really representation on the screen, again, matters, right? It's not everything, but it's something to be able to see yourself and see the things that you might have as far as lived experience portrayed on the screen. Just an amazing experience. And so we wanted to talk about which one of those type of movies stood out to us, you know? So maybe, so this time we could do it where we each share, maybe we start at, are y'all's ranked in order or you just have them?
I just have them, but I think because it's so hard to narrow down what my favorite movies are in general, whether black, brown, whatever.
Yeah.
I kind of went on the theme of black and brown movies that have, one, stood the test of time for me.
Okay.
And that impacted my life in some way or another.
That's really good. Yes. How did you do yours? Like, how did you rank yours?
So mine doesn't even have my favorite movie that I can quote backwards and forwards that I'll watch all the time. Okay. It is definitely movies that inspired me or were inspirational and impactful to the culture in some way and meant something to me after I watched it. Like I took something away from it each time that, you know, kind of propelled me forward.
Yeah. Okay, cool. And I'd like a mix, like, you know, of things that really resonated with me, but same thing, what impacted the culture in a big way. And, you know, that really, and people still talk about to this day, all of that, like how did it shift, whether it be on like a global scale or just for our community.
Right.
I did it that way. So this is going to be good. I like that. Yeah. So let's just start with one of them.
Okay.
Talk about them, you know, laugh, joke, say, why in the world did you pick that? Like you did for one of mine, and go from there.
I will say if we have the same one pop up and someone said it first, I feel like that's the one to share when it's your turn afterwards too, because you might as well.
Bring it up. Yeah, okay. Yeah, got it.
It just makes sense.
Okay, who want to set it off? That ain't
I was like, is that on your list?
That ain't no mine.
I actually can't watch that movie again. It hurt me too much.
It was tough, man. That was a good movie. That's an honorable mention for me, but I didn't have it.
Yeah, I can't watch
it.
Okay. Did you have that on yours or not?
Nah.
Okay. All right. Who want to go first?
I can go first.
Right. Set us off.
The first movie on my list here is one that stood out for me because of the emotion that I felt while watching this movie.
Yes.
The pain in certain in the circumstances that he went through, because I can kind of feel myself in that situation, and that really made a lasting imprint for me. And that movie is The Pursuit of Happiness with Will Smith and Jaden Smith. For those of you who, for whatever reason, don't know it, the synopsis of that is a struggling salesman takes custody of his son as he's poised to begin a life-changing professional career. So as a person that I like to think that I follow my dreams, I try to do things that, that some may look at as taking risks and things of that nature. I see myself as one of those individuals, and to see that man doing just that as a father and hitting rock bottom, sleeping, in bathrooms, in public bathrooms, trying to shelter his son from all of that, and then to, that clapping scene at the end makes me teary-eyed every single time.
Wow.
So it's that. I think that's why this movie made the list for me, because I can't help but to feel like, to know that you are on a path to something that's going to add up, but can't quite prove that to anyone. Right?
Yeah.
For your wife to leave you because she does not see the vision that you see in the things that you are doing. Right? Maybe you've hit too many times you've done this, but this is the one that you feel deeply, and trying to get that point across is like speaking to a wall, and going through those troubles. That's on my list.
That's such a good movie. Like, I really love that movie, and that makes so much sense. And even as I look back at that movie too, one of the things that stood out to me was like as a part of the narration that Will Smith did, and he was like, he was talking about the quote, "The pursuit of happiness," and he was like, how did they know that happiness will always be a pursuit?
Yeah.
And when I watched that, I heard that narration, I'm like, that touched me, because it's like, the pursuit of happiness. And that movie really outlined that, right? Like, he had his own pursuit to find his goal, to find, happiness could be synonymous for some people with like being in a better state or a better place or doing well. And it's like, that always is a pursuit, because it's like this moving goalposts. And that movie, I think, was a great depiction of that. So, I loved it too. And it had many nuances too, like fatherhood and some of the lessons. He's like, the one scene, he's like, don't ever let someone tell you.
Exactly.
Right, which can be not even me.
Yeah.
Like,
not
people
even
can't do something themselves, and when they tell you, you can't do it. It's like, that was good. So actually, let me see, is my list right? But no, that was good. That's a good one.
Great movie.
Yeah. Did you like it?
The movie, so I've only seen it once, and I was not a huge fan.
That's okay.
And I recognize I have no real reason, but it just didn't resonate with me when I watched it. And anytime I've ever spoken to anyone about it, they have those similar reactions. They're usually men, though. So I get that on maybe more of a visceral level, you guys feel it in a different way than I did. And unfortunately, I just didn't. And I feel like I should revisit that movie.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm disappointed in myself for not liking it enough. It's just like,
It's okay. Everybody got their own taste. But this is one that's universally liked, so maybe you should.
It's me.
But
okay.
That's okay.
Look at him coming for me. He gonna come for me hard today. Okay. All right.
Nah, it's okay.
Okay, buddy.
That's okay. So that's a good. We starting off strong. What about you? What you got?
Not in any particular order, of course. My first one, I put Get Out. Now, I remember, I think I went to the movies twice to see it, and it was, I'm not into scary movies, but it was one of those that was so well done. And you just didn't know what was happening. And then when you got to understand what was going on, it felt like, the symbolism of this is off the charts. And the fact that he was the hero in the end, because we never make it out of scary movies. You know that. Anytime there's a thriller, killer kind of movie, the black people die first. Yeah. And the fact that he not only lived, but got them, outdid it, and then didn't go to jail in the end still. It was so,
that's a good point.
The creativity, the creativity, everything that he did, the way that you didn't really know who you could trust at first, and by the end you realize everyone's against you. It was so good. Yeah,
and then some of the symbolism, like the sunken place and what that meant. Like, who did you become? And then you become this person that you're not. Yeah, almost speaks to when we almost code switch in these white spaces and become this other person. And then the flash would hit and they'd wake up and become themselves again. He's like, help me. Yes. Get me out of here. It's like, that was good.
I also like that he wasn't he wasn't a stereotypical character. He was a photographer.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like they did so many different things. And then his best friend, the security guard, who was just funny and comical, but also like, yo, watch your back. Like he had his back no matter what and tried to warn him and still came out there to save him or to help him in some way, shape, or form. I'm like, it was nice to see friendships and not friendships that were just like broken by jealousy or anything. It was just, there was a lot going on. I was like, this is an amazing movie. Oh.
Yeah, I like Jordan Peele. As a director. All of his movies, as they keep coming out, now there's 3 of them, but as they keep coming out, I can't help but to think that it's like the Twilight Zone. Each movie is like an episode of the Twilight Zone.
Yes.
But obviously, deep within Black culture.
Yes.
That we can relate to.
Yeah, that's good. No, I love that. That's good. And I even like the last one about Get Out for me is I like kind of like the how he connects back. Like there was at one point in time where I forgot exactly what it was, but the whole premise of the movie was they wanted to be like us.
Yes.
So like that right there, and we just talked about this off mic about appropriation and people stealing culture. It's like they want to be like us. Like folks want to be like our culture really sets the trends and the stage for so many other cultures, right? So that was good.
Yeah,
I liked it. So that's a good one.
Yeah.
You started on strong. Hopefully my movie holds up. So.
we will see.
Yeah, listen. Okay, no, I ain't gonna lie. I had one I was about to say, like, let me pick one that I know is gonna hit. But no, I'm gonna say the one I had. Love and Basketball.
That was a good one.
Let me tell you why. Love and Basketball. So what it did for me, first of all, as a hooper, played high school ball, played in college. I was balling. Don't go look the stats up though, right? I was a good leader, but the stats didn't always reflect it. But no, honestly, I liked the way they wove. I had to weave in so many different topics, right? So you could really dive into some of like thoughts on gender roles in that movie. You can dive on relationships between him and his father in that movie. The pursuit of a goal in that movie in basketball, and how when his relationship with his father messed up, like that kind of messed up his whole entire trajectory. Like he wasn't really going to class, he wasn't worried about basketball, he broke up with his girl, all that.
Yeah.
But then at the end, she became the breadwinner, right? Based on her consistency and discipline. A lot of people didn't like that one scene, like, I want to play for your heart. They're like, oh, why would that felt almost like it was minimizing, right? To the women in that space. But then she became like the breadwinner. Like she was the one, and he was with the kid, and she was winning out on the court. So it was like, for me, all of that mixed into one was amazing. And it's a culture shift. Like everyone knows that movie.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
For sure.
Who doesn't love that movie?
Yeah.
I was not a fan. I didn't say that I didn't love that movie, or I wasn't a fan mainly because I didn't play sports. Okay. Basketball was not my thing, but I have love for the movie, and I do recognize the importance to a lot of people, because all my friends growing up would watch it nonstop, and that's a movie that's high on a lot of people's lists. So I respect it, and I understand the love for that movie. But I remember just growing up, I wasn't a fan because basketball wasn't my thing.
There's no judgment, because I also cannot play basketball. But
that gasp was strong.
I was very offended, because I'm like, this movie was so good. There was something about her. Like, I love me some Sanaa Lathan, and there was something about her dedication to the sport and the game over anything else. Yeah. And I felt like sometime by the end, when she realized that she has all this shine and glory because she was overseas playing, and it didn't mean anything anymore. So like, she came back home and just wasn't herself, wasn't necessarily happy, and she realized that what was more important is actually love. And so I feel like her success really came from that encouragement from her partner once they got themselves back together. Next, you know, she's in the WNBA, and he is supporting her on the sidelines, and that's what she really needed. It was something about that really got me. Like, the whole movie was really about learning to support one another and not just like focus on this one thing, because that one thing won't really get you everything you want.
Yeah, and even with her relationship with her mom was off, because her mom wanted her to be like a girly girl, right? I said air quotes for people who not seeing me, but. And she's like, no, I want to go hoop. That's what I want to do. Like, she chose her own destiny. And then again, I mentioned the father and the son, but also the dad in the relationship with Quincy's mom, and how like he was cheating because he was an athlete, and that messed up the son. He said it was a lot to it, right?
Yeah.
So I thought it was good. So yeah,
great movie.
Dope.
Yeah,
Okay.
not on my list, but I do love that movie.
Okay, all right. We starting off strong, y'all. We got this heat. Okay, what you got? Wow.
All right, so for me, this one is more a culturally impactful movie, just because I remember being a kid and seeing representation in a movie that I felt like I didn't really see before.
Right.
Regardless of the culture that's represented isn't exactly mine. It's like Latino culture, and that was Selena. So Selena, Selena is a great movie. I just remember growing up and being a kid and seeing like Jennifer Lopez, who's Puerto Rican, and she's playing, a Mexican singer, Selena, who passed away, and Edward James Olmos was her father, and just like a lot of strong performances, and seeing a lot of things that I could relate to, like how, Latinos and American Latinos, we don't, growing up, I know more Puerto Ricans that grew up here that don't speak Spanish, as opposed to who do, and I speak Spanish, I'm fluent in Spanish, but it's like small things like him explaining like how to roll your R's, reloj, and like her picking up on that, and she can sing Spanish. It was just a lot of things that I had never seen in a movie that represented us in a positive light.
Yeah.
And there are other movies on my list that where I saw representation, but it's more, I've seen that representation in like gang movies and things of that sort. So that was the first time where it was like
that's real,
a positive,
yeah,
situation, even though she passed away and how she passed away, but that's just life.
Is it though?
I mean, unfortunately for a lot of people that is, you deal with a lot of trauma and stuff like that. So, but it was definitely one that stuck out, and I was like, I can't go without mentioning this one just because of that representation
and the cultural shift.
When I was and the cultural representation for me as a kid watching this.
I didn't appreciate that movie till later. Like we saw it, I want to say it might have been sometime in high school, like my early college years. We watched it, and I remember it being for Hispanic Heritage Month, right? We watched it, and like, that's dope. It's a good movie. And then later, when I started getting into like the diversity work, and we showed it at we used to have this student group, SMAC, Student Multicultural Advisory Council, Nonviolent. We was watching that, and one of my students was like, yo, like, this ain't first time seeing it. Like, wow, how like that meant so much to them. And they came to me explaining like their history and how that actually shaped or helped them shape, like, oh yeah, I can relate. I saw this and like it connected back. Yeah. I'm like, oh dang, okay, that makes sense. I'm like, and I can relate in my own experience when I saw things right in movies that made sense. So yes, 100%. Like I appreciated that later. And then now knowing like that is, I mean, I would think it's one of the most important cultural movies, and correct me if you think I'm wrong in this, but I think in Hispanic culture in general. Now, right?
Oh, it's huge. It's a huge movie, and we've had movies that have tried to emulate stuff like that for other artists who passed away and stuff, and it's just not the same.
It don't hit.
Yeah.
That makes sense. I watched it too young. I would think I was around 8 or so, and we had visited my grandmother down south, and it was on, and I got to the part where she died, burst into tears. I was so sad. And then it was almost like set it off. I chose to not watch it again for years. And I think I watched it one more time when I was older, but not recent enough. And it is an amazing movie. And then I recognized all these like strong actors who I didn't realize was in it when I was so young. Yeah. But it's so heartbreaking. I have a hard time getting through it because I don't want it to happen to her, and she didn't deserve it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
So it's a powerful movie, but I can't sit through it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's even sadder that it's a true story.
Right. That's what killed me, because growing up, I thought Jennifer Lopez was Selena. Yeah. So in my mind, this happened to her, and it was so hard for me as a child to be like, oh my God, I just saw her on TV. And as I got older, when I realized who she was and I looked her up, it killed me even more. And I read all about how she died and who the woman was, and I was just angry for her, you know?
Yeah.
So,
You know, one thing before we, move on from that, one thing that actually I do remember learning about that is some people were upset that they had Jennifer Lopez, who's Puerto Rican, play Selena, who's Mexican. I remember hearing that. Like, that was an issue for some people. It's like, you couldn't have casted
a Mexican
or Mexican American to come and actually play that. So I do remember a little bit of that, right?
Yeah, but even now, we go through that with just Hispanics in general.
Yeah.
Like, so to have a Latino or Latina, represent another Latino or Latina is huge for us,
right?
Because more often than not, those roles aren't going to us. So
that's good. Okay, that's dope. Yeah, that's a good
small
one.
wins.
Small wins. Come on, y'all. Go ahead.
I hear you.
What you got, Money Mo?
So next on the list again, no order. Black Panther. The first one.
Yes.
Because it was everything. It was the movie. It I swear I have never felt so culturally seen before. You know? It was just it was the colors, it was the community, it was the joy, the laughter. It was this like safe place, and to think of how life could have been without colonization.
Yeah.
I wanted it, you know what I mean? And the fact that you saw all social media, book my ticket to Wakanda, like I was trying to go. I felt like it was an improvement from Zamunda, which is again not a real place, but to us, it's everything. It's like I will forever love Black Panther. Shout out to Chadwick.
Man, R.I.P. to Chadwick. Yes, agreed. So I'm gonna go because that was on my list too. And so Black Panther.
Nice.
That was everything you just described. It was that, right? And then you could see yourself had so many intricacies that you could take from it, metaphors and relations back to real life. It was just an important movie for the culture, and it just did so much in empowering women, like from the general and the what's the name of the group again? Wak? The women.
The Dora Milaje.
Dora Milaje. Yo, listen, fierce, powerful, right?
I was the general.
Yeah, all that. So the first one for sure
Yes.
is on my list too.
Yes.
It just, it's like, and not only that, it wasn't just successful in that way, it was financially successful.
Yes.
Right? Like top 3 box office movie of all time.
You know what's crazy? Sorry, not to cut you off.
No, go ahead.
I was just saying, like, that impact to how it reached so many, because, I was working in the schools at the time, and to see the kids all want to be Black Panther, it sparked so much in them, because they were like, that's me. I could be that. Like, they really felt it and believed it. Yeah.
It goes to show that when you stand together for something, it makes a shift.
Oh man, come on now. Power,
that power that you have when you stand behind something. So use that power wisely.
Yes.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Yeah, agreed. Like that showed many things. Again, like the financial part. Because even like MLK said at one point, like, did you know that Black folks are the second largest? You said like gross, like we spending power wise, we the second largest community as far as the ability to spend. Like, did you know that? I remember one of the speeches. He was saying like, we decided to pull those resources together, like what we could do.
Right.
And it's like, oh, this is what we did with Black Panther. Like folks were like, I commit. This is good. This represents us, and it got it to that, right? And not that other people didn't go see the movie, but it's like, we were behind this. So that's an amazing movie. I think that movie is immortalized for sure. Yeah, the first one.
Always and forever. Yeah.
Let's see. My next movie, because I had to think of the Latino ones too first, right? Get those out of the way. One big movie I remember growing up that I didn't appreciate when I was a kid, but when you mentioned Hispanic Heritage Month, you only see about 2-3 movies that they bring out, right?
Yeah,
this was one of them. Right? So Stand and Deliver.
Right?
Stand and Deliver.
Yes.
A good damn movie.
Love that movie.
It's just amazing story of a teacher who believed that he can make a difference in these students' lives, and he was he a substitute teacher?
No, he was a teacher.
Yeah,
He was a teacher.
Yeah.
I just remember him stepping in at this new school, and the school was a troubled school, and and they wanted to get him to quit so bad. The students did, and he would just not give up. And watching it as a kid, I didn't quite understand it, and as I grew up, I realized like I got the message. And that was one of the few times where we were like, you know, represented on film.
Absolutely.
In a positive light.
Absolutely.
And I loved it.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Great. Yeah, that's on my list also because I will forever. I love that movie so much.
So
it is problematic how much I love that movie. It was something about him being so tough on them because his expectations and his standards were so high. And everyone tried to be like, they can't do it. They're not smart. They're not intelligent enough. And he's like, absolutely not. They are more than capable of doing this. And they rose and surpassed the occasion. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because at one point they took the test, they all passed, and the state didn't believe them. They thought they cheated. And they had to do it again. And he knew and understood that it was wrong. And he said, you can do it anyway. Like, it didn't matter. You can do it. Prove them wrong. Yeah. And it was just, so inspiring because they were so good. I love that movie.
Yeah, powerful. It did that for me too. And I think they used to play this for us in school multiple times. I'm like, probably because they like, all right, we want y'all to see. Because my school was, you know, like, I ain't gonna lie, later it was like, it's like, all right, y'all, come on, y'all could be doing better than this. But that movie I saw multiple times. And it always resonated with me. And I love those type of stories where the underdogs, you know, come to success.
Right.
And they come together in a unified way. So, yeah, amazing movie.
Because that's based off a true story, isn't it?
It is.
Yes, which was everything to me. I was like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
But I never saw it in school. Like, I had to watch this all on my own. HBO maybe when it came on, but I was in it to win it. It might have been why I wanted to be so good in school, like really get good grades.
That's dope. Yeah, our teachers, we mad movies. It's like, hey, listen, we ain't trying to teach today, y'all. Here you go. Yeah, stop playing. But nah, that was good though. So yeah, that one that's a great one.
Yeah,
definitely.
That's my honorable mention. I ain't have it, but that could have been on there.
Yeah,
easily.
Nice.
Yeah,
nice.
Let's see, because I don't know what I put. Antoine Fisher.
Antoine Fisher was a good one.
Denzel is in this movie. Don't even. And I love me some Derek Luke. Joy Bryant. Like, it was so good because it dealt with mental health and like how trauma can affect you in your adulthood and in your life and prevent so much if we never like acknowledge it or get to the point of healing.
Amen. Yeah.
And like, he was so angry and had so much to deal with because of, you know, the abandonment and the abuse. He went through a lot.
Yeah.
And the way that Denzel's character was able to like talk with and to him and kind of challenge him to work through things and push him to like go back home to where he's from and find out more about his past and his family, and that he was slowly letting love in. It was just so beautifully done. And then by the end, he had this whole family he didn't even know existed that actually cared about him.
Yep.
Like mental health, the struggle black men go through. I love that movie. It's like, yes, this is a good depiction for those who have so much anger within them and they don't know how to identify it. It's like, yes.
Yeah, that's good. I don't remember it enough.
Same.
Yeah.
Same.
I remember highlights and bits and pieces. I don't remember it enough to be able to really give some good commentary. And I don't want to just say anything to fill the silence right now.
I hear you.
I do not remember
To
it.
prepare for this, I rewatched every movie I listed. Or I had seen it very recently to make sure I knew what I was talking about. But I would implore you both to rewatch it. It is one of those movies that is worth the rewatch.
I will do that.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I was thinking when you said Antoine Fisher. And as you're describing it, when I saw it, it had to be around the time when it first came out. And I was so young that, you know, stories don't resonate unless something specifically grabs a hold of you. And that sounds like a movie that me as an adult now would understand and appreciate more.
Yeah, that's good.
Agreed.
Okay.
I like it.
Good. So Stand and Deliver, then you had Antoine Fisher. So I'm going to hit y'all with one. And so I'm going to go Boys in the Hood.
Boys in the Hood is good.
I'm going to go Boys in the Hood, y'all. Yeah. I'm going to go.
That movie was hard for me.
Man, that was such a... Like, I think it was a good movie in the sense of like what it depicted in a particular section of black culture, right? Like what happens and how difficult it is to deal with some of those things. Because Ricky, and for folks who didn't know, I don't want to spoil it, go check it out. But Ricky, that moment was pivotal, right? Like I think he was going to play football. Like he had gotten a scholarship. Is that what happened? Something like that?
Yeah,
something like that. He was going to something happened.
He was the one in the group that had something going.
He was and for him and my pops used to say that to me. Like if we about to go to a house party or go whatever, like any woman to go to house parties or anything, he's like, yo, it's always the one I was an athlete. There's always the one that got something going on that get got that ain't supposed to be there. And he wasn't telling me exactly what to do. It was like a cautionary tale of like, right. And so that resonated. And then just like all of that going on, and then the pain that came from that. Like after that, he went back and he's like punching the air, and he had to be consoled. Like all of that was just amazing, right? And then like Cube in that movie was such a good depiction of somebody who like really like entrenched in their life because of his hurt.
Yeah.
And it was good. That was a really good movie. And it's one of those things that in every like in most of, if you listen to hip hop or rap and that artistry, they reference that. They reference it in other movies. If you're in conversation, like this is one of those culture shifters that people really can resonate with.
Yeah.
Without a doubt.
Yeah, that's real.
Yeah. And I think back in those days too, it was like an inside look in that lifestyle in the West Coast, and you know what I mean. Like there were a number of movies that depicted that, but I want to say they all came out like within a small window. Yeah. So every time those movies came out, it was like the movie that we had to watch. Yeah, you know what I mean.
Yeah. And that did it sort of the best. Like I think it did it.
It did it the best. Yes.
Yeah, that was good.
That was John Singleton.
Yes.
As director. Yes. Yeah. Shout out to him. Rest in peace.
So that's on mine. Yeah.
Nice.
Okay. What you got?
Okay. All right. So me again. Same vein, but from our perspective. This movie, same thing. It's West Coast based. Very. It's a gang oriented movie, and that movie is called Blood In, Blood Out. It's check that out. It follows a family who are in. Here, I'll show you here. The synopsis is based on the true life experiences of poet Jimmy Santiago Baca. The film focuses on stepbrothers Paco and Cruz and their biracial cousin Miklo. So it's the whole entire story is these kids, they grew up in the West Coast, and they're part of a gang called the Vato Locos, and they were all very much in the gang life, right, and something happened because of that, and they all kind of split, and you follow that. So like one grew up, or one went to prison, and he was their biracial cousin. He looked white. He was half white, half Mexican. And, but so he went to prison. Another one, broke his back in a situation that happened in this movie, turned to drugs and and then the third one became a police officer growing up. So like all of these kids that were very gang oriented, that was family, that was life. And to see the path where they all went and how they're clashing now because of life choices. Wow. It was very impactful. Yeah. It was like a scene where, like I mentioned, one of them was addicted to drugs. Yeah. And spoiler alert. But it was a big scene where he fell asleep with the needle in his arm, and his little brother walks in the room, and you can just imagine what happens there. And it's like gut-wrenching stuff that happens in this movie, and it was great. It's one of the movies that's just like.
When did that come out?
That's 90s.
93.
Oh wow.
93. Yep.
Okay.
The original title was Bound by Honor, but everyone knows it as Blood In, Blood Out.
Wow.
Yeah, I'd watch that. I've never even heard of it.
Oh, that's great.
And I love that kind of how that plot development sounds like, having those three different like stories to follow.
Yep.
Yeah, that's good. Wow.
Yeah, okay. Sounds powerful.
I'm gonna put that down and watch for sure.
Right.
Definitely watch it. It's a great movie, and it was crazy because again at that time, like when we watched West Coast movies and everything, generally we had it was like Boys in the Hood, Menace to Society, like movies that we love, but to see it from the brown side, that also just threw it in there and added that little extra that made me resonate. Like my we were talking about it on our show. My one of my co-hosts, good friend of mine for over 20 years, he was like, we were talking about how it was a very real thing that people hold blades like razor blades in their mouth, and it's a cultural thing. And, and I jokingly said, Puerto Ricans do it because we do. And he was like, I remember being young. I had just seen Blood In, Blood Out. I wanted to try it. And you look at him, he like the nerdiest looking dude. So
that's hilarious.
It's hilarious.
Yes. That's hilarious.
Side tangent, but
yes, that's good.
That's real.
But no, that's dope. That's dope. So yes, I'm gonna check that out. That sounds like a good movie.
Mm-hmm.
Please do.
Yeah, I'll watch that.
Yeah. What you got?
Aquila and the Bee.
That was good.
So Aquila and Bee came out when I was a child still. Trying me. And I will say shout out to Keke Palmer, who is just amazing. Angela Bassett, Lawrence Fishburne were all in this movie. But there was something very inspirational to see a black girl spell and just showcase so much intelligence, but not a nerdy black girl. You know what I mean? Yeah, she had glasses, but she was way more like street, and there was so much more like home issues going on. Her mom wasn't really involved with school for her because her mom had to work. Her I think her brother was away in the military. The dad had passed. There was enough going on in the house where she could easily be forgotten. So she wasn't like excelling greatly at school or doing anything, but she was just very intelligent. And someone noticed how good of a speller she was and encouraged her to participate in the spelling bee. She didn't want no parts. Her mom wasn't even trying to sign off on it. She had to sneak around to get that. And then when like things came to a head and she had the support, the community completely supported her. Because like, how often will that happen? She was going to a school that was pretty poor and like had to sneak away to the more ritzy school to study and to like get training and to get help. I mean, I was so inspired because how often are people sitting around watching the spelling bee? Yeah. Nobody. Yeah. But it's like when you see these kids who are dedicating so much time and effort, and then someone who looked like me, I was like, that could be me.
Yeah.
By the by, I was not good at spelling. And like when I tried to spell a bee, it did not work out like Aquila. But I was so like inspired to be great at something too.
That's dope.
It was great. I love that movie. And I was like, I'm sure y'all are not gonna have this on your list. However,
yeah.
Hey, that's okay.
That's dope, and I hear that as far as like the inspiration. Like, oh man, that's to see somebody who I resonate with. I get that. Yes, I haven't seen it, so
yeah. Again, I watched it to prepare, and I was like, this is a great movie.
This is a good one. Okay, I love that. That's dope. Yeah. So that's another one I gotta add. Is that one you think I would like it?
I don't think it would be one of those movies that you're like, yeah. I'm gonna keep watching this. It'll be one. This was solid.
Okay, I got you. It ain't gonna be like The Greatest Showman.
You will not enjoy The Greatest Showman.
Oh, what's the one that The Prestige.
Oh, The Prestige.
The Prestige is an amazing movie.
I got you. Okay. But it don't make this list.
No.
Okay, but yeah. Okay, I love that. Dope.
Yeah. Thank you.
So what I got here is The Hate You Give.
I've never heard of it.
Oh, wee. Listen, brother.
That should be on my list. What was I thinking?
Yeah,
yes, come on.
I'm not going to hold. So The Hate You Give is a movie based on the book. And I'm trying to remember, what was her name who wrote the book? Was it Angela
not
Thomas?
Gonna pretend. I don't know.
I'm going to go ahead and find it for you right now. Yeah, Angie Thomas. Yes.
Okay.
So Angie Thomas wrote the book. The book was amazing. So they made it into a movie. The movie came out in September 2018, which was off the heels of Black Panther. So that all that was going on. And then the movie pretty much is based on the life of young girl, I forgot her name in the movie, and one of her closest friends, Khalil, and she lives in like the traditional hood setting, but she goes to school out in the burbs, and she almost is like living two different worlds. And then in the movie, Khalil gets shot and killed by the police, and it was in the movie. Yeah, when I tell you it happened, and it was like. Gut wrenching when it happened, and it's like bro had reached into the car to grab his
hairbrush,
because they was like, and then he shot him down. When I tell you, man, you could feel it because that was also around the time like we off of the heels of like, Michael Brown wasn't too long, and then Freddie Gray, and then like all of that was going on, and so after thinking about Ferguson happening. And then it just really gave a depiction of that. And then all the things that led from that. It was powerful. And it's so powerful. We actually showed it at our school a couple of times. Yeah. And did like some talks around it. Man, it was, and each time we did the showing at the school, when I tell you people were in tears, like, man, it was powerful. And it really just depicted that dynamic of like the law enforcement and like the black community, right? And then the things surrounding that, like the context. It was a great job, bro. It was tough.
I completely stole his idea. So he showed it at his workplace, and then I went and did the same thing at my workplace. And it was one of those, like, we're going to show the movie and then discuss it afterwards.
Yeah.
When I tell you the amount of tears and stories that came out from coworkers and sharing how much they relate to this because of this or because of that. And like, it's also the Thug Life, like that's where the title stems from.
Yeah,
having to do with Tupac, and that was it a poem or just rap lyrics?
Both. And so the hate you give is what THUG, like Thug Life, was like. That was the acronym.
I mean, powerful. Even the dad especially in that movie meant so much to me. Like the way that he raised his kids, the way that he demanded respect and honor, and he had a past, and the way he was judged for it. It is I cannot believe you actually haven't seen that.
Yeah, I've never even heard of it.
Yeah, so, you would love this movie.
Oh yeah, no, yeah. I gotta check this out.
It's dope, and it touches on, like I said, Thug Life. The whole acronym is the hate you give. The hate you give little infants F's everybody. It's this is what Tupac said that man. And so it kind of shows that. And at the end, it's like this. I'm gonna give it away. Spoiler alert! But at the end, it shows that in a deep way. So yeah, that's one. Man, be ready. Buckle in for that one.
Okay.
So yes, all right. It's good.
I'm throwing that on my list.
Okay. Yeah, that was. Oh man, good. Yeah, you make up for the last thing I judged you for.
Kerry Washington. Go ahead, Walk. What you got?
All right. So,
and by the way, for the listeners and the watchers, we doing 7. So we each got. You got 3 left?
I have 3 left.
You got 3 left?
I only have 2 because we shared.
We shared one.
Okay, I got 3 left. So maybe he goes, I go, and then we come back to you for the last 2.
I don't mind. That's
all
fine.
right, bet.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Okay. All right. So this one shouldn't be a surprise to anybody. Same thing. When we talk about the movies that impacted us as kids, you know, that are generally represented on the West Coast. This one made the list because it brought it a little bit closer to home on the East Coast. Juice.
Oh,
Juice.
That's an amazing movie.
It was an amazing movie.
Yes.
What I got from that too, growing up, just it reminded me, or at least it made me aware at that young age, to be wary of the company you keep. You know, just because you may have that friend that's just a little bit of a loose cannon, and you know, you let things slide or whatever. But the second that there's any kind of power, that person gets any kind of power, it's like, yo,
or any kind of juice.
Yeah, any kind of juice. Which that, for those of you who don't know, that's what it is. When you have the juice, you have the power.
Yeah.
And that, you know, that power lands differently for some people. So
great movie, brother. Great choice. Yeah, that was great. I forgot all about that. I haven't seen it in a while, but yeah, same kind of weariness. Like, oh man, who you around? Like, you are the sum total of the 5 people who you around the most, and yeah, that was big. Yeah, and they depicted that in a really good way.
It did. And it was one of the earlier movies that I remember Tupac being in.
Man,
it was great.
He did such a good job.
He's
an amazing, just like really, talent.
Yes.
Yeah. Man, that was dope.
Yeah, I haven't seen that movie in years either, but I do remember watching it the one time and just heartbroken. That thing, those movies just be killing me every time. I was like, so I only watch them the one time because I can't emotionally go through it.
I can't relive this.
Yes.
Yeah, and I was raised in the city or the hood or whatever, and those are the staples, man. Those are the movies that everyone just kind of has on repeat. Whenever you go to a friend's house growing up and stuff, it was the same type of movies, you know. A lot of mentioned it earlier, Menace to Societies, Blood In, Blood Out, South Central, like a lot of those movies that represented what we knew. Even though it was a different culture from, you know, West Coast or whatever, the one thing that we could all relate to is the struggle. So, and those were the movies that really represented that.
That's good.
Yeah,
so,
great
but
choice.
Juice was the first one that I remember that brought it to the East Coast and New York City, and it was a big movie for me.
Big time.
I ain't mad at that.
All right, this one right here, y'all, I ain't gonna lie, an amazing movie. And another one where the first one is the best, Coming to America.
Yes.
That's on your list too?
That's on my list.
Okay, yeah.
Yep.
Coming to America, man, look, that was such a good movie. It was a fun movie.
Yeah.
It depicted so many things, like, and it was just good to watch. And to see him coming from wealth and power over to America and having to figure things out and just not knowing. And it's funny, seeing him like, almost enjoy all the things that we would put down, like those little things, was just so cool to see.
Yes.
And like the one part, and I can't say all the language on here, like, good morning, my neighbors. That was hilarious. It's like, oh, you can find joy in anything. That was so cool, man, just to watch. Like that was a good time. I love that movie.
Excellent choice. That was well done.
Yeah, that was a good movie.
Zamunda, it was. I mean, the rose petals and the way they bathing him in the beginning.
Listen,
like the royalty, the energy, the music. It was such, and it was so well just done in every facet. Like there's no bad part. You could rewatch that movie over and over again. But I probably would have been like Arsenio. Like, get me out of here.
He was just loving
rat
it.
across the floor, the homicide scene of the apartment. It was just, Eddie put him through.
He was loving it. He like, yo, this is great. I love it here.
What a loyal friend, though, because he didn't leave him.
Nah, he did not. He could have slid, and I ain't gonna hold you. I would have been like, all right, nah. We got to go back home.
Come get me.
Yeah, that was
went
tough.
to go sow his royal oats in Queens.
Yes. Yo, that was hilarious. Yes, that's good. So that was on your list too,
That was on my list.
Okay,
yes.
so talk about what did you like what stood out to you?
Oh, now come on, man! Like everything. The fact that growing up, realizing how many people Eddie Murphy played in that, you know what I mean? Down to just there was so much. Zamunda was the Wakanda before Wakanda. That's what we had for like, yo, this place is a magical place. You know, like why would you ever go from that to here?
Right.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
And then and then in the end, it served it did what we all kind of hoped. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. We always hope like, yo, we're gonna, like someday we're gonna get out of this, like out of this life. This is what we're gonna, blah blah blah. Yeah. And even though that's not what she originally wanted, man, now she's a queen.
Yeah,
she's you know what I mean? But all of that aside, it was a hilarious movie.
It was a fun movie, yo.
Mm-hmm.
Well represented.
Yes.
Everyone was just amazing.
Yes.
Cast from James Earl Jones.
Oh my God.
Even the brother who sang "She's Your Queen to Be."
She's your
Oh
queen to be. It was so
everything. We were talking about that yesterday though, when she was just bouncing on one foot. He's like, I don't want that. Like,
not
I don't
whatever you like.
Yeah,
but
I don't want a woman that's just gonna tell me what I want.
So good. And, and what a great actress who played that too. Oh my gosh, it's just stars. That was
that was a good one, man.
Good picks, guys.
Yeah, that was just great.
Yeah. And that second one was like, no.
What second one?
Yeah, did they have one?
Yeah, we're not even gonna acknowledge that.
Okay,
BS. But just because we mentioned that, the honorable mention in that also is Harlem Nights. You know, because you can't mention one without the other, in my opinion. Like they kind of go hand in hand.
Funny enough, Harlem Nights one of the ones that I don't have a vivid memory of still. Like I saw it, but it's not vivid in my memory. Similar to how Antoine, I gotta go watch it again.
Right.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. I saw it more recently in the last maybe 5-6 years, and I knew it was good afterwards, but I can't recall a thing.
Yeah.
But I was like, this was a great movie, but don't remember a thing.
I remember it because my father was just like that was his movie.
That was his movie.
He loved it. And you should go back and watch it because it has all of Eddie, Arsenio. It had Richard Pryor, Red Fox.
Oh, yes.
Like the greats before before their health took a turn and all that. So
that came out in 1989.
Look at that.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting. Great year. Yeah. All right.
Yeah, we ain't gonna say why, but go ahead. Your time.
What did I put? Lord. Oh, of course. Lean on Me.
Oh, that's lit.
Lean on Me.
Lean on Me is great.
When I tell you, not only the music, because I will sing that song every time. I pretend I'm one of the boys in the bathroom singing like the little riffs. But the way Joe Clark, I did not care for how he interacted with adults, but the way he loved his students and how he fought for them, it is something really special and unique when you feel like an administrator has your back completely. Like as a kid in school, knowing you could always go to him or he would do everything he can to help you, it spoke volumes to me. And yes, he could be abrasive and he may have done a little too much at times. But besides that, I was like, oh no, you go hard for them and look how hard they went for you. It is one of the most inspirational. I will still get goosebumps every single time. I know how it ends, what happens. I don't care. I'm there.
Yeah. That's a good movie. I put that alongside Stand and Deliver. Like, that's how I look at those. When you mentioned that, I thought about that. And there's one part, I don't remember exactly what happened, but I remember something about this stood out to me that I really liked. He was like cleaning off graffiti or something. You remember that in the movie?
Tell me more.
I think he was like, every day he would go out and like clean off graffiti off the walls or something. He just like, almost to the point of like, nah, it's like, how this looks matters, right? Like your environment matters. Like, we're not gonna let this like. So he would go out there all the time, and I think that's the movie.
Right.
But it's like that.
Because this came out in the late 80s also, and so when he got to the school, because he was working at a more privileged school at the time, they came to get him and put him in this place. There was graffiti everywhere, like every single corner of the space. The place was broken. The kids were overrun. The kids were fighting each other and killing each other. Like, it was bad. Teachers were getting concussions or busted heads, had to go to the hospital. It was such a terrible environment at the time. And so when he came in, that was part of it. He's like, I'm cleaning this up in totality. So like, not only did he put all of the drug dealers on the stage and say, you are kicked out of here, got security, but he made them clean and take pride in the building, which made, because he's like, I want these kids to feel safe. And I appreciate that so much, because sometimes you don't understand the effect that the environment has on you, but especially in a school, and you miss if the like walls are dark, or, you know what I mean? Like, something about the brightness, the murals, the energy it brings in, the life, it fully matters.
Yeah, that's good. Okay, that's a great pick.
Yeah, thank you.
And Morgan, who was the same age then as he is now, because he does not age. And that man came in the game the same age as he is now. I'm like, how is he doing this? This man has been 105 since he started. It's still good.
Shout out to Morgan Freeman, yo.
For real. I'm like, whatever he taking, I need that.
Oh my God.
This man has not aged.
Yeah.
Like, he started at that age and is now there. Okay. But yeah, that's dope. That's dope. No, y'all know I'm telling the truth.
You definitely are.
Yeah.
Okay. Fair enough. Dope. What's the next for you?
I got the last two, so I'm trying to pick which one do I want. I'm gonna go with this one because it's the same person in the movie. I'm gonna go Malcolm X. So, have you seen that? Okay, you're gonna have to check that out.
I'm so sorry. I haven't seen the whole. I've seen bits, but very small bits of it.
That's okay. I watched Malcolm X, and I think that was directed by Spike Lee.
Yes.
And so that was what first, I'm like, I gotta watch it, right? And to watch, of course, based on a true story.
Right.
To watch his story of this intelligent black man who it was really self-education, the way he became intelligent, the way he articulated himself, the way he advocated for our people, all the way up until he was assassinated. And then the story around that opened my eyes to so many things, right? And the way he actually brought people alongside him. And that was good for me because for a while, so back in Detroit, so the Nation of Islam is heavy in multiple places. Detroit is one. And I didn't know much about them, right? So at a young age, when I watched this movie, it was like, wow, let me go do my research. And then here, despite some of the things that people see negatively,
right,
how much they actually do to develop young men who don't have many opportunities, right? Man, it was powerful. And just to see the power that he rose to, like he had, like talk about a man with power, and not in like a negative way,
right?
But it could be used that way. He had power. Like it was one scene where somebody was in prison, and this actually turned out to be a true story. Somebody was in prison who was like in the King movement, because those were like kind of like they were opposite movements at the time. One was based on like you are violent if you have to. One is strictly pacifist, and somebody was in prison, wrongly so, and a lady had came to like, hey, what you gonna do? Such and such is in prison, and almost was like, hey, that ain't wanna. Like, you only care about black folks if it's like the nation, and then that like rang off to him, right? So he went down and they marched down because they are militant. Like I went to the Million Man March, and that's real life. They are militant, the nation, right? They marched down in trench coats and top hats, and Malcolm was there, and he was directing them, giving them hand signals. It was so many of them. The police department was scared, let him in, and he had been almost beaten to death. Called the ambulance, took him out, and they was like, all right, y'all can go home now. The police, because they was nervous. He was like, nah, we going to the hospital, make sure he get the care. And gave like a hand signal, and they started marching down to the hospital. And I'm like, oh, that power in a black man, right? And that care for his people. It was dope. So to see that depicted in that way, and to know his story and his life and what he went through, it's like, man, that's somebody who really rode for us.
I got goosebumps just hearing that story.
Oh my goodness.
Which I hear that with like when you tell me people who have power, but it says so much more to me to the people who follow. Because I'm like, the fact that they'll follow so loyally speaks highly of that leader.
Yeah.
You know? But
he's phenomenal. So
I'm guessing you've seen it.
I've seen it recently, actually. It was one that I did not see growing up. Again, probably like bits and pieces.
Yeah.
But it was one that I definitely, I mean, come on, Denzel portraying Malcolm X. So
two great people.
Two great people. So it was definitely one that I had to go and watch.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a very like long movie.
Yeah.
But it was very well paced. There's a lot. It covers a lot of his life.
Yeah.
Back from when he was the dancer in the zoot suit.
Detroit Red.
Yeah, you know what I mean.
He lived in Detroit for a minute. Yeah.
So
Nice.
Man.
it was awesome to see, and it begs the question, like because of everything that you explained.
Yeah.
Have we seen anyone that powerful since?
So it's funny. It's a theory about this, right? Like multiple great leaders in the black community get assassinated, and so like because of how that happened, that stopped happening. It was like a subconscious cultural decision. Like if we elevate people to this level, they will die.
Yeah.
One way or
We'll
another.
lose them.
Muhammad Ali, Parkinson's and died, which many people say like that was poisoned food. Like honestly, like that was intentional. Even Jay-Z had a bar about that, like murdered Malcolm and gave Cassius the shakes. Was the bar, right? So like same thing, Nelson Mandela in prison for 27 years. Malcolm X assassinated. Martin Luther King assassinated. So I think that was almost like a cultural intentional decision. Like, oh no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
That.
Yeah.
And so it was good. And then that was one of Denzel's best acting jobs.
Yeah,
I just wanna put
absolutely.
that. He was, oh my goodness. Like, he did that.
Oh yeah.
I believe that he was
I
Malcolm.
watch it now. Yeah.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah.
Okay.
That was 92, right?
I think that was that 92. I'll check it out right here. Got
It's
the
also a good year.
yeah. And then yeah, 1992. Well, brother, ain't playing.
He got it, right?
Yeah, it's Jeopardy. It's trivia. I gotta take it with me. Family Feud they ain't ready for this. You got two more, right, brother?
I have one more because I shared what was it that
Coming
we
to
shared?
America with him.
Coming to America.
Okay,
Yeah,
all
we
right.
shared that one.
You got one more? You got one more?
I got one more. Yeah.
Okay, all right.
All right. So my last one, I had my last two were going to be comedies, right? So, but my last one is Friday. The reason for it, one, obviously, we've all seen the Friday movies, right? Yeah. Specifically the first one, because that movie,
man,
even though we remember it as a comedy movie, there were so many deep parts to it. There were it had a completely different tone from the other movies that came after it. It was just. It was more than a comedy movie. It had its funny moments, but it was just like, from the dad, like just that family dynamic of it, and trying to keep him out of trouble, and he's just hanging out with his friend, and the things that you come across when you're just hanging out. You know what I mean? So those are the slightly deeper stuff, but so many good one-liners and things that you would normally it's the experience that you would have in the hood on a daily basis hanging out with your friend.
Amazing movie. I actually had it on mine and I traded it for something else, but amazing movie series. I agree. And even so the comedy was great. The whole thing about Debo, like the bully, he's like like no more. Punched himself. Like, so I'm so hype about it. But so it was mad good. It was mad good. Like and Cube did that. Like that was black owned, black run, black operated. Like that was dope. Like that was amazing. And it was Chris Tucker first, then Mike Epps, right?
Yes.
I thought the first one with Chris Tucker was better.
Smokey, yeah.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
He killed it.
He killed it.
He was on point. It was so perfect because it was just the day in the life kind of energy,
Absolutely.
and it was so accurate and so relatable. I was like, yeah, I did not see this movie first. I saw the second one first. And then I don't know how that happened. By the time I saw the first one, I was like, oh, this was way better. And part of me was so disappointed because I had loved the second one for so long before I saw the first. I was like, dang. And I mean, I really haven't watched the rest since. Like, the third one is the epitome.
Got you.
I mean, the first one is the epitome.
Yeah. And that was, was it John Singleton? Who's the director of that?
That's fine.
I was thinking it was him, but I'm like, I ain't going to pretend like I know.
It's a well-known name. Let's see.
That came out in 95. Oh, my
95.
goodness. I'm going to let you find it, Wax, since you came up with that.
F. Gary Gray.
Okay.
Oh.
F. Gary Gray directed this movie, and
He does a lot of other stuff, too. Yeah.
Yes, yeah. F. Gary Gray, what else did he do? He, the serious tone of this movie, actually, yeah. If you look at it, he played the shop owner. When he said my neck and my back, it was like, funny. Man, it ain't even wet over there.
I remember his face.
Man, he directed Set It Off and The Negotiator.
Of course
Oh, The Negotiator with Samuel L.
Yes.
That is a great movie.
Honorable mention?
Oh, my gosh. That's such a good
done
movie. Yeah.
He also did Straight Outta Compton.
Yeah, I was like, I know his face.
Yeah, Law Abiding Citizen. That was.
Oh, he's tough.
He is.
Yeah, he's tough. But yeah, so it was that tone. The first movie specifically. Second one, third one went deeper into the comedy.
Yeah.
But I think the first one just had a perfect balance.
Yes.
And made it feel like.
Yeah.
And that was the funny thing. It wasn't like necessarily that it was like hilarious.
Yeah.
In like jokes.
Because it wasn't over the top.
Yeah, it wasn't over the top. It was just your natural things you would come across, and it was funny because it was so realistic. It had that feel to it. So
yeah, that's good. That's good. That's dope.
Yeah.
That's dope. Next Friday had a couple moments of funny, but it was like it didn't have it like to count my money.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, bet. Go ahead.
So this one came out of like very recent, but I can't remember when, and I went to the theater to see it. Judas and the Black Messiah.
Oh, that almost made my list.
Did you see it?
I did not. Don't blame me, y'all.
It was good.
I will say, so I went because it was my friend's birthday, and I was like, all right, I had no thought process of what this movie might be about or how it would go, but it's about the Black Panther Party and how it started. And I felt like I learned such a huge lesson because that is not something that is taught for us to understand or recognize that the Black Panther Party was doing so much more to help the community. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You did see it. I'm glad. I'm glad.
I'm like, okay. It's coming back to me. Yes, I saw this.
And I was not only the performances. I mean, like Keith Stanfield.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh my God, such a great job. And then like,
Daniel Kaluuya.
Yes, my boy. I love him. I love him. Amazing. But the way everything went and how you recognize that they were doing so much more to help the community, and they were just a target.
Yeah.
And for Lakeith, who played him in real life, or who he was in real life, unfortunately being a traitor and like setting him up was so painful to watch. It's like it'd be your own. So when you were talking about Juice, I was thinking about that. I was like, you really got to be very careful on the company you keep because he knew too much and he did too much. It was rough to watch that. It hurt and it pained me because I'm like, wow, they were really trying to help so many people.
Yeah.
Yeah. Great
it's
movie.
Like how I would take that back to Malcolm X to where trying to do this delicately, but they say a lot of what happened to Malcolm being assassinated was in collaboration with other folks in the nation. And I think about like, man, a lot of times that be us that, know, because he had fell out with the nation and whatnot. So this for sure, and knowing that this was accurate, this is a true story. True story. It's tough, you know what I mean? And it's like, Fred Hampton, he's one of them leaders again.
Yeah.
Right? That's another example of where it's like, all right.
Sleep.
Yeah,
I was done.
Man. That's so. It's true story, facts, right?
Yes.
So man, that was a good movie.
Yeah,
that was good.
It was really good. I learned a lot, and I did not. I recall trying to have conversations with people who would try to equate the Black Panther Party to like the KKK and things like that. Yeah. And I was like, based off of
it's like that's disrespectful.
Where are we coming from with that information? I was like, anytime you Google, what are you seeing? So to see it depicted in this way, it made it more clear for me. And I was like, I hope others recognize this they don't equate. That's not what was happening, you know? So
that's good. Okay. That's good. Good. This is a good list. So my last one is more about the movie itself and what it did for the person in it. So this is a Denzel movie, and it's Training Day.
Training Day.
Training Day. That was Denzel's first Oscar.
Yeah.
Right. And it even came out in the song, like, why did Denzel have to be crooked before he took it? And Jadakiss. Hey, you feel me?
I was never gonna know.
Nah, it's all good. So, folks who don't know, Training Day is a depiction of Denzel is a police officer, and he's a crooked cop or a cop that does things like he might bribe people, take money, accept bribe, all that and whatnot. And it was such a phenomenal. And he had on this rookie that he took on and had him do things and like set him up. And the storyline, the development, like the way you could follow different things happening at once, the connectivity back to real life, the way it really was Denzel's acting too that put it over the top. I mean, it was so amazing. And then I forgot the other person's name who was in that. Like,
Ethan Hawke?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh my goodness. What a good movie.
Yep.
Like, y'all do this to me?
I never saw the whole
Hey, y'all
thing.
in Pelican Bay. Y'all be playing basketball in
amazing
Pelican Bay when I'm done with y'all. Tough. Tough. Yeah, so that was my number one. It's like, my last one. That was elite. My number one is Black Panther. But that was my last one, like Training Day, man. Such a good job. And I love Denzel.
Yeah.
You know, and that's something that took him, I think, to his limit as far as acting range and like how good he did. It was great. I thought it was great.
Yeah, I never finished the movie. I don't know if I even started it. I saw parts.
Okay,
but,
it's another good one.
And I love Denzel,
Training
so
Day.
you're right. Like, he is amazing. But the ones I would go to is Remember the Titans, because that's my favorite movie.
Yeah.
And John Q.
John Q was great.
And he did an amazing job. But I know he has there's just a wealth of greatness that I need to watch that he's done. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So this was dope. This was dope, y'all. So before we wrap up, 'cause I know we've been chatting it up. So let's just run down. Maybe we don't talk about them. What's a list of honorable mentions for y'all? So I know you had Glory Road, John Q.
Glory Road.
You know what you just said?
Remember the Titans?
Oh, my bad. Yeah,
Completely different movie. Get out of here.
Basketball. You want to watch basketball. Coach Carter would have been on there for me.
Yeah. Higher Learning was an honorable mention for me.
That's tough.
Good.
Yeah,
That's tough.
movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I said Woman King was definitely good.
Honorable mention?
Yes.
Yeah. That was good. Yeah, I would have had that.
Fierceness of us. Oh, we were cold pieces. Oh, I wanted to be one of them. You hear me?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think what else would hit my honorable mention? I'm like, this is just a good movie. I liked, people wouldn't love this, but I liked Think Like a Man. Like,
No, that was a good movie.
I thought that was an amazing movie.
The first one, absolutely.
Yeah, that was a great movie. Think Like a Man. Yeah. And then Why Did I Get Married? The first one.
Yes.
Yo, that was great. I thought that was a good movie.
Was good.
Yeah,
that should have been on my honorable mention.
Yeah, that was good. That was good. You got some honorable mentions, Wak?
I don't know. It's an honorable mention because it's actually really good, and I just saw it. But Emancipation, I still want. I want y'all to see it because I know Will right now is like a shaky. Not for me. Not for you. Yeah, not for me either.
He's working his way back. I will give you that walk.
Nah, man.
Okay.
Like
I think
we
for
all
the
make
public.
mistakes.
For the public.
But either way, that movie, it's great movie. It's very powerful.
Okay.
It's the way that it was directed was amazing. I want to say it was Antoine Fuqua who directed it, which is the director of Training Day.
Oh.
Let me. I'm gonna double check right now
ready.
just to make sure.
You're about to watch this.
Yeah,
start watching it right now on the show, yo.
I was like, did we in our original list choose any slave movies, like movies that depicted slavery or anything?
Nah,
I'm impressed
I'm
by
proud
us.
of us.
Yes.
Even though 12 Years a Slave was an amazing movie.
I actually never saw the whole thing.
It's hard to watch.
Is Carrie in there?
Maybe, I don't know, but nah.
Lupita's in it, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
12 Years a Slave was great.
Yeah, 12 Years a Slave. Yeah, that was good.
Yeah, that was
very good.
It was to the point where I'm like, yo, I'm mad at people. I'm ready to go square up.
It's like Amistad. There's some movies that I just emotionally don't think I can put myself in to watch. Yeah. But I hear
Glory was another great movie.
Oh,
with
yeah.
Denzel?
With Denzel. That was dope. Yeah.
I love that. I watched that in high school.
Yeah, that was one of the movies we saw in school.
That broke me. Yeah, that was good.
Strong Side. I love that time.
I can quote it back and forth. It's a problem.
That's good.
But Emancipation definitely is on that. And I want to read the synopsis on that. A runaway slave forges through the swamps of Louisiana on a torturous journey to escape plantation owners that nearly killed him. So
Bama.
Lincoln freed the slaves.
Yeah.
And as you know, not everyone knew this.
Yes.
So he was still still enslaved, and they transferred him from one spot to another, and he found an opportunity to get himself out of there, but he's being tracked by like one of the lead trackers. So I was like, it's an intense movie. It's based on someone that where the photos of his back, like with the whips and with the slashes and everything, is based on that individual.
Oh wow!
Which that image let everyone know truly what was going on.
Wow. So, yeah, I know the picture you're talking about. So yes, okay.
Yeah.
That's good.
Apple TV Plus don't miss, man.
Man, I'm gonna get that. And then my honorable mention too is probably people sitting here listening, thinking like, "What in the world?"
I think he's slick.
Are they talking about? Listen, we might be right.
We might be wrong.
But we ain't. But at the end of the day,
we just young, black, and figured it out.